Hello, I am Scott Ferguson, and I'm here to read to you again today. I am going to read our third installment in the Great Speeches collection that I'm making up. By the way, I lied, and I think I'm going to be doing more than 3 of these because I keep finding wonderful gems. This is a speech from David Lilienthal, who, now don't get turned away because you have no idea who David Lilienthal is or was. I didn't either. I promise you that you will enjoy this. Lilienthal was appointed by President Truman in 1947 to head the Atomic Energy Commission. Lilienthal had been one of the directors of the Tennessee Valley Authority. And he unfortunately got caught up in the swirl, I guess really the beginnings of the swirls of anti-communist sentiment in Congress, really witch hunt type anti-communist thinking. And Lilienthal here in his confirmation hearings is responding to some of those pretty crazy rumors that he had any sympathies towards communism. And one last comment here before I start to read. There's a lot of talk these days, and I'm recording this in December of 2024, so you'll know what I mean, about threats to democracy, but there's not as much discussion of what democracy actually is. And Lilienthal here goes a long way towards a definition of democracy. This speech used to be taught, in fact, in a lot of school classrooms many years ago as kind of a primer on democracy. So sit back and relax and enjoy. Take in the passionate words of David Lilienthal from February 3rd, 1947. I will do my best to make it clear. My convictions are not so much concerned with what I am against as what I am for. And that excludes a lot of things automatically. Traditionally, democracy has been an affirmative doctrine rather than merely a negative one. I believe and I conceive the Constitution of the United States to rest upon, as does religion, the fundamental proposition of the integrity of the individual, and that all government and all private institutions must be designed to promote and protect and defend the integrity and the dignity of the individual. That is the essential meaning of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, as it is essentially the meaning of religion. Any form of government, therefore, and any other institutions which make men means rather than ends, which exalt the state or any other institutions above the importance of men, which place arbitrary power over men as a fundamental tenet of government, are contrary to that conception, and therefore, I am deeply opposed to them. The communistic philosophy, as well as the communistic form of government, falls within this category, for their fundamental tenet is quite to the contrary. The fundamental tenet of communism is that the state is an end in itself, and that therefore the powers which the state exercises over the individual are without any ethical standard to limit them. That I deeply disbelieve. It is very easy simply to say that one is not a communist. And of course, if my record requires me to state that very affirmatively, then it is a great disappointment to me. It is very easy to talk about being against communism. It is equally important to believe those things which provide a satisfying and effective alternative. Democracy is that satisfying, affirmative alternative. Its hope in the world is that it is an affirmative belief rather than being simply a belief against something else and nothing more. One of the tenets of democracy that grows out of this central core of a belief that the individual comes first, that all men are the children of God, and that their personalities are therefore sacred, carries with it a great belief in civil liberties and their protection, and a repugnance to anyone who would steal from a human being that which is most precious to him, his good name, either by imputing things to him, either by innuendo or by insinuation. And it is especially an unhappy circumstance that occasionally that is done in the name of democracy. This, I think, can tear our country apart and destroy it if we carry it further. I deeply believe in the capacity of democracy to surmount any trials that may lie ahead, provided only that we practice it in our daily lives. And among the things we must practice is that while we seek fervently to ferret out the subversive and anti-democratic forces in the country, we do not at the same time, by hysteria, by resort to innuendo and smears and other unfortunate tactics besmirch the people, cause one group and one individual to hate another based on mere attacks, mere unsubstantiated attacks upon their loyalty. I also want to add that part of my conviction is based on my training as an Anglo-American common law lawyer. It is the very basis and the great heritage of the English people to this country, which we have maintained, that we insist on the strictest rules of credibility of witnesses and on the avoidance of hearsay, and that gossip shall be excluded in the courts of justice. And that, too, is an essential of our democracy. Whether by administrative agencies acting arbitrarily against business organizations, or whether by investigating activities of legislative branches, whenever those principles fail, those principles of the protection of an individual and his good name against besmirchment by gossip, hearsay, and the statements of witnesses who are not subject to cross-examination, then, too, we have failed in carrying forward our ideals in respect to democracy. That I deeply believe. And I'm going to read the little comment here in this book about Lilienthal's speech. It reads, "There was complete silence when Lilienthal finished. Then the late Senator McMahon, the far-seeing statesman of atomic energy, said, "I congratulate you on that statement. In my opinion, it is the creed of a very real American." That was evidently the opinion of countless other Americans, for the next day, the Lilienthal Credo appeared on the front pages of newspapers throughout the country and became the subject of numerous editorials. And by the way, Lilienthal did get the job with the Atomic Energy Commission. And with that, I thank you very, very much for watching and for listening.